Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan. I'm the pastor here. Free is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. If you're wondering why we call this place Free, well, all the things that set us free, grace, compassion, love, forgiveness, these are the things that are so freely given by God. So we call you people and this place, this community, Free. Welcome to Free. We're so glad you're here. If you are new with us tonight, if you just stumbled upon this live feed, I want you to know it's not by accident. You're here for a reason. So tap into that reason. Stick around. Hang out. Don't go anywhere yet, because you need to know some big things are happening tonight. We've got some big things to tell you. But first, before we tell you some big things, I want to start with some other big things and throw it to Danny Colella. Danny is in the house. He's our digital content director, and he's going to tell us some things happening here at Free. Danny, give us a good word, my brother.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Yes, welcome to tonight's broadcast, and we have our third community event coming up. If you haven't been out to any of our prior two events, this is a way to get together and get some free stuff while we help the community. So this Wednesday from 5 to 7, we're going to be asking you to come and to bring socks and underwears for Ready to Work. And Ready to Work is an organization that helps people suffering from addiction or homelessness get some work out there in the real world. So we'd love for you to join us 5 to 7 this Wednesday. We're going to have Rapichi's Italian Ice, which I've never had it, but it's
They
good.
were here last time. Yeah, you had it. They were here
You're
last
right.
time.
I did have it. And
gelato.
We're gonna have that gelato again. So we would love for you to come. We're gonna be following all safety guidelines. Masks are required. We're gonna keep it super safe, but we would love to see your faces. And next, if you hadn't already,
Danny, is the underwear, is it preferred to be new? Right? People are asking new underwear.
No, I'd say bring your stained, dirty. Yes, please bring new underwear, sealed in packages. It's the best way to do it, not the other kind. And then if you haven't already, we know we've talked about it a lot, but Free launched an app. It is the hub, the central hub for everything going on here at Free. Events, giving, any messages that you might have missed in the past, everything happens on Free. And sometimes on July 4th, we released a message series exclusively on the app. So if you want to be in the know, if you don't want to miss out, and you want to be super connected to Free and you haven't already, make sure you download the app. You can find it on the Android store or the iPhone store just by typing in Free Spiritual Community. We'd love for you to stay in contact with us and connect with us. And yeah, that's all we got for announcement this week. So take it away, Ray.
All right. Thank you, Danny. Always appreciate having you here. Appreciate the work that you do. Thank you for all the great work you do. Now, here's one of the big things. We've got really two big things we want to share with you tonight. Tammy's the guest storyteller. My wife, Tammy Canaday, she's in the house. She's going to share some of her stories. So I won't tell that big thing yet, what's happening with coffee. But what I do want to tell you is, it was just a couple of weeks ago. I got a message, and if you're watching right now from England, it was a young lady in England, and at the end of the service, some of y'all may have seen this in the live comments, she said, tonight was the very first time I prayed, and it was with you all. And I also want to tell you, we get messages from people from all across the country, even, this might freak you out, even all across the world, and people say, man, can we get a free here? Like, can we start something here? And we hear y'all. A friend of mine is always saying, man, what happens at Free, it is too good to keep to yourselves. Don't be selfish with something good. And I don't say that with arrogance. I actually say it with a great deal of humility. We believe what's happening here is good. We believe transformation and change is happening. And so he's always saying, share it. Find a way to get it out. So we hear you all. I hear my friend in England. I'm so glad you prayed with us for the very first time. And we want the mission and the message of Free to spread. We want to change more lives, impact more lives. So check out this 4-minute video. Actually, Drew, let's just roll with the video. That's enough for me. How about that? So many of you have been tuning into Free on Saturday nights from all over the place, all over the country, even all across the world. And we get messages from you all almost every single week, and so many of you are saying the same thing. Man, I wish there was a free here. And we hear you. So we decided to launch Free Circles. Now here's the deal. We are looking for leaders in other cities, states, countries to step up and create community in your own backyard, your own living room, your own space, the beach, the mountains, the coffee shop, the yoga center, wherever it is. Gather a group of people. Maybe it's 5 or 6 of you. Maybe it's a bit bigger, 10 or 12 of you. People you want to journey with, your tribe, and start a free circle. Now, for some of you, you're hearing this right now and you're saying to yourself, man, I can't do that. I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to create community. I just want to be part of community. Cool. This may not be for you, but for others of you, hearing this, you just got butterflies. Your heart even started to beat just a little faster. You've been digging the free mission, and you have a passion deep in your bones to start community right where you are. You're who I'm talking to. We want to keep this simple. Here's what we need from you. 1, create a list of people. Reach out to them personally and ask them to journey with you. This is your circle. 2, meet on a regular basis. And we're going to ask you to commit to this project for at least 6 months. Now, your circle might decide to meet weekly or bi-weekly or even monthly. Whatever it is, commit to it. And the third thing, the goal of your free circle is to build intentional spiritual community based on the mission of free, which is breaking the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. Now, here's what you can expect from us. 1, a weekly Saturday streamed service that allows you to gather with your circle and engage creative and relevant content to bring about a deeper sense of community, all working together towards the common goal. And a second thing, for those of you that want to go deeper in your relationship with God and self and other people, we will be providing a weekly Free Circles video message from me, and this video will include a short message and discussion questions for your free circle. Now, how you want to use this content is completely up to you. Maybe your circle engages it for 10 minutes and spends the rest of the time hiking or biking or serving other people, whatever it is. Or maybe you just want to hang out in your living room and engage this content for hours upon hours. The point is, you decide what works best for you and your free circle. And the third thing, we will host a monthly Zoom meeting with you, myself, and other key leaders in our free community to address any of your questions or concerns. We want to join with you in the excitement. We will pour into you, and we will be a resource for you. And it's really important for you to know, Free Circle should always hold our core values of no shame and no BS. These circles are the places where you go deeper with your people, your tribe, your circle. If this interests you, if you're saying to yourself right now, man, I want to step up, well, shoot me an email. Let's talk. We were built for community. Community sustains us to rise together, to thrive together. Free Circles, y'all. How great is that? As you can tell, I'm a bit excited about this one. In fact, it's been a long time since I've been this excited about something happening at Free. This is as I said in the live, we just did a live video a minute ago. We think it's a game changer because it gives you the opportunity, you as leaders, and I know I'm not talking to everyone, but I am talking to you who feel like I said in the video, your heart's pumping a little faster. You get the butterflies. Your hands are even getting a little sweaty because you thought, man, the Canadays, they started something in their backyard. Maybe we could start a free circle in our backyard or wherever you are. If that interests you, I know it does for some of you because I've gotten your messages and your emails. Email me again. Let's talk. We want to be a resource for you. So, all right, y'all, enough about that. You'll be hearing more about that in the coming weeks as things get launched. We will be launching those this fall. So again, if you're interested, give me a shout out. Drop a line in the comments or an email or text message, however you want to get a hold of me. Let's talk. All right, y'all, we are going to move into celebrations because it's how we begin in this community. I know every single week we have hard things happening in this community. We have uh, death and relapse and all kinds of struggles. We don't ignore those struggles. We just wait until the end. We start with celebrating, to be grateful, to remember the good that's in our midst, to remember the good that's flowing out of you and other people and what God is doing all around us. So this is your opportunity to take 3 minutes, get vulnerable, let the community in on your celebrations. God joins with us in the celebrations. Drop them in the comments. Let us know what you're celebrating so we can celebrate with you. We do this as a community together, and something powerful and profound happens when literally thousands of people from around the country are joining with you in celebration when they either watch this live feed or the replay. So take 3 minutes, give us your celebrations, and then we'll come back together.
See the light of a new day dawning. Feel the love from a beating heart. You catch a ride to the top of the world. This is where we start. No, we can't make it last forever. We gotta use all the time we have. And you know that we'll never say never if we ever get the chance. And it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. This feeling's running high. Life is calling and the world is beautiful. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. There's a winding road we're choosing, looking for a brand new day. And up ahead there's an open door, now we'll find our way. There's a hope for a new tomorrow. We can dream that we'll rise above. Let me be your guide to follow, and you'll always feel the love. And it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. This feeling's running high. Life is calling and the world is beautiful. Na 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 na. Seize the moment and stop right now. Play the music and live. Well, it's good to be alive. So good to be alive. This feeling's running high. Oh, life is calling.
Oh, so there's a new face here tonight because if you didn't already know, Tammy is our guest speaker for tonight. So I'm filling in for her role of reading off all of your amazing celebrations, and it's good to celebrate with you guys tonight.
Danny, I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
My wife's cuter than you. But,
She's way cuter.
oh,
Way
well,
cuter.
let's celebrate together, shall we?
Let's celebrate together. So Kathleen, by the grace of God, the unity of fellowship, and the 12 steps, I am truly blessed today with 3 years free from all drugs and alcohol. Thank you to Jesus for my ever deepening relationship. I am happy, joyous, and free. Kathleen, you're the reason we're here. These stories, we can't wait for you to comment on 4, 5, 6, 7, 2020. We're thankful you're here with us every week.
Cat, way to go. Keep doing your thing. That is so awesome. All right. Derek D is saying, celebrating a new beginning as I am off parole. So proud of you, dude. And paper, off parole and paper for the first time since 2008 this Tuesday. Also grateful to start help running my sober living, the Akron house. God is so good. Dude, we love you here, Derek. We're glad you're part of this community. And way to go, man. Celebrating with you. That's big.
Love it.
Big, big.
Cindy Rapp, celebrating our son Chris achieving a milestone on his pursuit of golf. Incredibly fun to witness. Way to go. Way to go, your son. That's awesome.
Chris, yeah. Way to go, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Cindy. Chris says, my black man not in prison. God bless. Chris, I'm glad you're not in prison, dude. I'm glad you're here and connected to this community. Love you, dude. Stay connected.
Saman, Romy and I just spent 8 nights together, celebrated my birthday while camping. It was amazing. This is the longest amount of time I've had her in 3.5 years. Truly blessed. Saman, we love your love for your daughter, and we love that you get outdoors and you do some fun stuff.
We were watching on Facebook. We saw the pictures.
We saw it.
It was awesome. It was awesome. We were jealous. Desiree. What up, Desiree? She says, I got a new job. I'm starting in a couple of weeks. Basically a promotion for where I'm at today. Congratulations, Desiree. Keep doing your thing. That's the way it works. Keep going.
Deborah, I'm safely moved into my new home in Parker, Colorado. Good for you, Deborah. We're thankful you're sharing that with us. That's great news.
Good to hear from you, Deborah. Pamela says, 5 new clients. My side gig is now a main gig. Way to go. Keep doing that. Congratulations. Celebrating with you.
Sounds like you're building financial freedom. Jennifer Decker, 316 days today. If you're at home, you gotta be clapping for these people. These are big deals.
Give a big hoot and holler, even in your living room. Way to go, Jamie.
Taking her home.
Yeah. Oh, Jamie. For years, through my addiction, I was not trusted around my kids, much less anyone else. But now my job has given me 2 days at the zoo job coaching with the youth. Nothing can't stop God's mission. Oof. I love that, Jamie. Nothing can't stop God's mission.
If we could have played Jamie's baptism video right there.
We have her baptism. We should play that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, Jamie, we're going to play your baptism video pretty soon. I made a really nice video for you.
Yes, he did. And Jamie, it's so good to celebrate with you and to watch you come so far. I'll never forget when she shared the story of her prison ID to her college ID. So awesome. Jamie, so glad you're part of this community. All right. Anything else? Anyone else?
No.
All right. It's always fun to celebrate with you all. So listen, we're in part 4 of 4 of When Pigs Fly. So I'm going to give a bit of a message on, remember that story of Peter walking on water? That story is loaded. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. It comes from Matthew's gospel. We're going to get into that in just a bit. And then Tammy is going to be our storyteller.
Ooh, yeah.
When Pigs Fly, do you believe in miracles? The miracles of stepping into your fear. Do you have some fear going on? Do you need to step into it? Step out of the boat. Step into something new. Stick around. This one's for you. Here's a little 45-second video, When Pigs Fly. Welcome back, everybody. You know, in John's gospel, Jesus says to his disciples, his friends, his followers, he says, you will do what I've been doing. In fact, you will do even greater things. This one is for any of you who have been stuck in fear. As I was saying a minute ago, you can't possibly imagine taking that next step. You're like that pig in the video. You're right on the edge of taking that leap, and you're not exactly sure what's going to happen. You're on the verge of entering into that sober living house. or deciding to stay in that sober living house. You're wondering if you should take the next step in recovery. You're wondering if you should leave a particular relationship that's become harmful and move in a new direction in your life. You're wondering what it looks like to take that next step in your business or that project you've been investing in. You're scared. You're nervous about life. You're overwhelmed by the future. You've got some fear going on. You're wondering, where's God? And what does faith mean in all of this? You're wondering if you have what it takes. This one's for you. Now, greater things than Jesus. What in the heck does that mean? In order to get a glimpse into this, we need some context around the first century world of Jesus and the idea of disciples. So let's take a brief look into history, and y'all, I promise you, this stuff is absolutely fascinating, so come on a little journey with me. And I've told this background before, but for many of you, this will be new. Now, there was a major discussion in the first century Jewish world around this. At what age do we begin teaching children the Torah? If we start too young, they may not be sponge-like enough to soak it all in. But if we start too late, we might miss that golden opportunity. And education of children was central to the life of their community. They understood that if the scripture didn't make it deep into the bones of the next generation, they were one generation away from extinction. Now, there were 3 stages of Jewish education in the first century world of Jesus. And I have to mention a spiritual teacher by the name of Rob Bell really helped me with this history. And I think it is so important for seeing what's happening with people following Jesus in the first century and what it means for us today. Now, the first stage of Jewish education was called Bet Sefer. And it literally translates as house of the book. And it was for children roughly between the ages of 6 and 10. And children would go into their local synagogue school to learn from their local synagogue Torah teacher. And get this, in Bet Sefer, they would begin memorizing Torah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And if you're thinking to yourself right now, whoa, no way. That is totally not possible. There's no way a child could memorize all of that. Have you ever watched Frozen with a group of young girls? Yeah, they can memorize. It's all about immersion, what you immerse yourself into. Now, the best of these students would continue on to the next phase of Jewish education, and it was called Bet Talmud. Bet Talmud, it translates as house of learning. And this was for children roughly between the age of 10 and 14. In Bet Talmud, they would memorize the rest of the Hebrew scriptures. And they would be learning the Jewish art of questions. Because rabbinical studies always dealt with questions. And this is very different from our Greek Western education system. Because see, if I were to ask you a question like, what is 2 plus 2? Most of you would answer 4. The answer is 4. Yeah, but see, if you were in first century rabbinical studies, you would answer with something like, well, what is 16 divided by 4? See, every rabbi had a yoke. And you would be learning that rabbi's yoke, their particular interpretation, their way of what it means to live out the Torah. And there were long, heated debates among the rabbis, and they would get in these discussions. And for many of them, there was these different interpretations, and there were lots of rules around what it meant to be a good God follower. Now, you do know Jesus was a rabbi, right? First century Jewish rabbi. And Rabbi Jesus had a yoke. Remember what he said about his yoke? He said, my yoke is light. It isn't an endless list of rules. Now, the best of the best would continue to the third phase of Jewish education, and this was called Bet Midrash. In Bet Midrash, you would go to a rabbi of authority and say to that rabbi, I want to be your disciple. I want to be your Talmid. I'd like to learn your yoke. And the rabbi would begin questioning you. Does this disciple have what it takes not only to learn my yoke, but to teach and spread my yoke? And they would go back and forth with questions, quoting the Torah. And the rabbi would quote a text, and the student would be expected to quote the verses before or right after that text. And this could go on for hours. If the rabbi believed you had what it takes, the rabbi would say to you, come, follow me. And you would leave everything to follow that rabbi. It was a great honor. You would give your life to be like that rabbi. When they would eat, you would eat. When that rabbi would sleep, you would sleep. And when they would pray, you would pray. And when they tried to walk on water, well, you tried to walk on water. Now, the truth is, many students didn't have what it takes. The rabbi would say to them, I'm sorry, you will not be continuing on the journey with me. It's best for you to go home and learn the family business. So in that context, check out these couple of verses from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 4. As Jesus walked by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Why were they fishermen? They didn't have what it takes. They didn't make the cut. A rabbi said to them, no, you're not going to continue with me. Go learn the family trade. Very next verse. And he said to them, come, follow me. Immediately they left their nets and followed him. Now, why did they drop everything to follow him? Was it because of guilt? Was there some sort of mysterious glow around Jesus that just kind of drew people in, like all of a sudden we're in there's zombies in a Walking Dead scene, you know what I mean? No, a rabbi thinks they're good enough. A rabbi thinks they can be like him. A rabbi came along and said, you can follow me. You have what it takes to be my talmid, my disciples, my students. You see, unlike other rabbis, Jesus went to them. He didn't extend that invitation to the best of the best. Jesus invites everyone, those who weren't good enough, those who had a past, those who'd been kicked around, those who were told they didn't belong. And he says, come, follow me. Jesus is saying, you can be like me. Now stay with me because we're headed somewhere. Peter is now one of Jesus's disciples. And a disciple doesn't just want to know what the rabbi knows. Disciples want to be like the rabbi and do what the rabbi does. One of the most beautiful stories in Scripture, coming up just a few chapters in Matthew's Gospel. Very early in the morning, Jesus came to his disciples walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified, said, it's a ghost. They were so frightened they screamed. Just then Jesus spoke to them. Be encouraged. It's me, don't be afraid. Peter replied, Lord, if it's you, order me to come to you on the water. And Jesus said, come. Then Peter got out of the boat and was walking on the water toward Jesus. But when Peter saw the strong wind, he became frightened. As he began to sink, he shouted, Lord, rescue me. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him, saying, you man of weak faith, why did you begin to have doubts? Why did Peter say, order me to come to you? Because he's a disciple. He's oriented his whole life to doing what he sees his rabbi doing. And how many of us have assumed that that Peter doubts Jesus? But here's the thing. Jesus isn't sinking. Who does Peter doubt? He doubts himself. He loses faith that he can actually be like his rabbi and do what he does. And sometimes this story is read in such a way that just makes Jesus some sort of egomaniac. Like Jesus saying, oh, come on, Peter, do you believe in me? Come on, Peter, do you believe in me enough? No, Jesus reaches out his hand and says, Peter, why'd you begin to doubt yourself? Have you forgotten who you are? Remember, I believe in you. I'm the one who says to you, come follow me. Why does Peter start to sink? Maybe some of y'all can relate to this. He steps out of the boat. Things are going good. He's walking towards Jesus. Things are still going good. He starts to look around. No one else is out here. What's going on? Things start to get dicey. The wind picks up. Peter recognizes where he is. What am I doing out here? Things aren't going so good. This is scary. Peter starts to sink. Peter stops believing he can be who he was called to be. He stops believing he can do what he was called to do. Why did Peter begin to doubt? Maybe Peter knew what it was like not to be good enough his entire life. Why was this young Jewish boy a fisherman, not following another rabbi? Because he wasn't good enough. He was told he didn't have what it takes. Even when Jesus comes along and says, come follow me, well, he knows he's just B-string material. He's second string. He's a B team. Of course he starts to doubt himself. Of course he doubts that he can actually do greater things. And some of y'all know exactly what this story is about. That old narrative just keeps playing, doesn't it? You're not good enough. You were even told this by someone who was supposed to look out for you, that you're not good enough. You're just a B-string player, and it's always been that way, and it's always going to be that way because nothing's going to change. Oh, you've got a past, and that past keeps reminding you who you were rather than who you are. So you just stay in those same old vicious cycles that are taking everything from you. You've stopped growing. You gave up somewhere along the way. You've convinced yourself that you're just a throwaway. You failed before, and there's no way you're doing that again. You know what it's like to sink, and it's really freaking scary. It hurts our ego. It damages our confidence. And by the way, how often do we get caught up in conversations about the importance of believing in God? But the far more interesting conversation is about a God who believes in us. Where's God calling you? What is God calling you to do? See, Jesus changed the world through love and sacrifice. He stepped into people's lives to show the way of love and grace and compassion and forgiveness, and always introduced people to a God of unconditional love. He impacted real lives and real communities. You mean we can do this? You and I can do this? You mean God is even calling us to greater things? Yeah. For some of y'all, did the world just all of a sudden get a little bigger? Did God just get a little bigger? For some of you, it's time to step into that fear, step out of the boat, and trust that God is inviting you into greater things. So here's the deal. Tammy Canaday is our guest storyteller tonight. And see, I have the privilege of being married to her. In fact, we've been married for just 15 years, 2 months ago. Not just 15 years. 15 years just 2 months ago is when we celebrated that. So I know some of the ins and outs and what makes her tick and some of her fears and what it looks like for Tammy to step into her fears. And y'all, what I can tell you is she's got this incredible story about what it means and what it looks like to step into those fears, to take some risks along the way. And so I asked Tammy to come and share some of that story with us tonight. And y'all are going to hear what's happening with free coffee and how that's evolving and what it looks like. So I want you all to give a big, we can hear y'all out there clapping. Give a big round of applause to Tammy. She's going to come join me at the table. Welcome, Tammy. All right, we had to do some shifting, but Tammy's here. Hi, Tammy.
Hey guys. A little more nervous than my usual.
Why is that?
Oh, no pressure, right?
She's been working on this. She's going to do great. I know y'all love to hear from her and see her, and she's got this. Well, I just want you to share some of your story with us around fear, and what I think would be interesting for people to know is what was it like for you to step out of the boat, to step into the fear. So if you remember when Peter said, like, Rabbi, if it's you, tell me to come to you. He says, come. He gets out of the boat. It was a step of fear. What was that like for you?
Well, you first have to step out of the boat, and that's really, really tough. That's really hard. And when I'm in the boat, some of the stories that I tell myself when I'm in there are things like, I'm going to fail. I'm not smart enough. I'm not connected enough. And, yes, it's true. I failed dozens of times, just like you guys have. And it takes a lot when I've been knocked down to get back up and to take another leap. Y'all know what I mean? And the thing with, I think, a lot of us, especially me, is when I fail, I get complacent. I think, and I've often said this before, but another visual is I get slothy. I like that.
Slothy. Where does that come from? That comes from somewhere.
The Enneagram, because I'm a type 9. So I kind of I like to stand still and get slothy.
Slothy. Don't call her a sloth.
That's the worst part of who I am. And when I'm not making any movement, that's when I know that I'm really stuck in fear. I shut down, and fear, it keeps me from speaking up and taking the next step forward. In my late 20s, I was moving up the corporate ladder, and if I'm honest with you guys, I often felt inadequate. I told myself the story that my voice wasn't valued like other people's voices, and if I'm honest, especially men's voices. And I think I felt that way because I'm quieter and a little bit more introverted, perhaps, than some other voices might be. And I often felt talked over and not heard. So because of that, I questioned my worth and my value. And it boiled down to me, myself, my own feelings, not feeling like I was enough. And so even today, I struggle sometimes with the false narrative that I'm not as connected. And dare I say that I feel like the shadow of Ryan sometimes. But I have to remind myself that that is not true. And we are a team, and we do life together. 15 years plus 2. So we've been doing this thing for 17 years together. I think we've nailed down what a team looks like. We have 4 kids together. We love each other. We figured out how to work around recovery.
We never have any conflict. That's a lie. That's a lie. We do have conflict.
We do, but you know what? We also are each other's best cheerleaders, I think.
Yeah. And we've learned how to work through that conflict. That wasn't always part of our marriage.
And you know what? That's on our best days. We still have conflict. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think we've learned how to pull each other's hand forward and out of the shadows to make each other our best self. I hope you would say the same. I definitely say that for Ryan.
Absolutely, 100%.
So the actual stepping out part for me, I've always sensed the strong pull in my heart and my spirit. Oftentimes we talk about this thing that like pulls you out of bed in the morning, that there's something in me to do more, to make a difference, to move outside of myself. I love being a mom. Obviously, I have 4 kids. But for me, there's also more to do. I have more work to do in the world than just being a mom. I'm not saying that being a mom isn't good enough, because that is. Yeah. I've just always had this deep drum in my spirit saying there's something in addition to that role that you fill.
Yeah. I have a friend who describes it exactly that way, the drum that keeps beating.
Yeah.
And some of y'all know exactly what that is, that drum that just will not shut up. You've tried to ignore it, but it keeps beating. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, too, when I'm moving forward and stepping out, my problem is, and you will say this is true, I get so stuck in the details. I'm if we're going to talk personality, very much an S person. I'm very detail-oriented. I could probably tell you, well, obviously that you changed your hair color if you guys haven't noticed. Just the details that are all around us. I get sucked into them, and I overthink everything.
Yeah. You know, and I would relate that to, like, for some of us in recovery, when we're working the steps. Um, Sometimes it's like you're on step one, you're taking step one, but we want to try to figure out what step 9 is going to look like and all the details of step 9. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're on step 1. Just take step 1 and then take the next step and then the next. Don't worry about step 4 because we're not on step 4 yet.
Well,
Don't
can I
worry
say a word about that?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I was actually stuck on step 3. And Ryan and I were sitting and talking to who, if you're watching Margaret, I would consider you my spiritual mentor and friend. And she's like, hey Tammy, so what's step 1 and what step 1 and step 2 look like for you? And I'm like, well, I haven't done them yet. She's like, well, then stop.
And you're not talking about the 12 steps, by the way. You're talking about
something else that we're coming up to.
Yeah.
You got to do step 1. So what does step 1 look
First
like
step.
for you? So she encouraged me, and we'll get more into this, but she encouraged me to take that leap, which was a huge leap for me, and to create an LLC.
Are you ready for the next question?
Almost.
Okay, almost.
Almost.
By the way, I just have to say, I'm looking at her notes. I haven't seen these notes. At the top, she has written brave, stepping into your fear rather than away from your fear. Some of my stories, some of my fears, stepping out of the boat. Yeah, I love that language, stepping into your fear rather than away from your fear.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. Don't let me cramp your style.
So the advice from Margaret, it truly was, the way she said it and the way she went about it was so gentle and affirming. And it catapulted me forward. And without her voice and a lot of the other voices of a lot of you joining us tonight, it would be tough for me to do this, because I think we need people to walk alongside us in the journey, especially when we're doing something new. And like I said, it brought me a lot of clarity. I felt like there was buy-in, I had direction, and I had support. And we need those things when we're doing something new.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I wanted to mention too, before we move to the next big thing, with well over a decade of coffee experience, I just want to mention that being in Free the last 2 years, I've been able to gain a deeper and different knowledge of coffee and roasting and business acumen, and it's all a gift.
Yeah.
And the best part is I get to do what I love with who I love, and I want to say that's you all, and especially you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So here's what I want them to hear. So you stepped out of the boat, stepped into your fear, and y'all trust me, she would be, if you have questions for Tammy, she's going to engage these questions with you when she's done. And she has very specific stories of failure too. So when we talk about failure, we're talking about real failures. That's just not a pretty word we use and throughout. We've had real failures in life. She has, and we together have. But you stepped into your fear, you stepped out of the boat. Coffee is so much a part of this community. It has been from day one. When we started in our backyard,
There was coffee.
we had carafes of coffee on the back table, on the table in the backyard. Coffee is so much part of this community, and for lots of other reasons. For recovery, if you're in recovery, if you're a 12-stepper, you know coffee is a part of your world. Mm-hmm. What's happening with coffee? What's next? It's in our DNA. Mm-hmm. Tell us what's next with coffee.
Well, I will, but I want to show you guys a quick video and give you a little glimpse of an introduction first. Oh, yes, they are hidden. Okay, so we're moving them over. Oh, they're still a little hidden. So,
oh yeah.
So here's the thing, guys. So many of you guys, when you came into Free, thought our coffee was for free. Like the price was free, and it was a different story. So when we were thinking about what are we doing moving forward with coffee, and how can we expand what we're doing here, I decided that we are going to call it Wagon Coffee. How appropriate. And then
why would we call it Wagon Coffee?
Well, because we're the wagon. We're being
yeah,
the
we'll
wagon.
get there in a little bit.
So it's really important to me that we are creating this new coffee culture, and it is based on what the concept that grounds us here, as you all know. And we'll hear more about the wagon from Ryan later, but that is Being the Wagon. And by the way, I just want to mention that our coffee is the same coffee, the same great taste. It's just going to start looking a little bit different moving forward. We're taking some steps to commercialize this and make some big changes around free. And the mission of Wagon Coffee is to be the wagon and change lives through providing jobs and internships and volunteer and service opportunities for women in recovery. And we are, this is what I love, we are creating wholeness through whole bean coffee.
I love it.
And so I have to mention this because I just think it's so cool. But as I was doing this and thinking about this, and I love words. So as I was thinking about my why, and we did some journeying together, and with some of you folks doing a storyline group and figuring out what our personal whys were. My personal story, my personal why of my life story is to guide and inspire others towards joy, wholeness, and living a better story. So when I put wholeness through whole beans, I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Whole beans.
mind blown. And it's this perfect melding, if you will, of my personal story and my professional story that I am putting together.
So can I just say one of the practical things this means for coffee? Let me just tell you all this story. We have a small coffee roaster in our kitchen. It's a home coffee roaster, which all of this coffee is, most of it is getting roasted in that home roaster. It sits in our kitchen. It gets vented out our back patio, so our door's always open. In the winter, it's cold. In the summer, the air is always running. So I won't give the details of what roaster Tammy's getting, but I'm just telling y'all, it is going to be able to allow Tammy to keep up with the need, because just like some of you all over the country are asking, man, where's a free? Can a free start here? Y'all are also asking for coffee, and there's no way she's been able to keep up with that need. And there's been these other huge opportunities that Tammy's had with coffee that she's had to turn down because you just don't have the roasting power. Well, the roasting power is coming, and it's coming very soon.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't give away anything, did I?
No.
Okay.
And I am open book about what we're doing and where we're going. There's only so much I can share with you tonight, but obviously really, really excited and stoked about moving forward and where we're heading. So I want to get back to the women piece because that's really important to me. And I want to read this directly to you so I don't mess it up, but it comes from addictioncenter.com. The stigma of addiction and recovery for women can be a big hindrance to gaining employment altogether. Even when this is not the case, those in addiction recovery are often only considered for jobs where background checks are not standard practice, many of which happen to be in environments that are less than ideal for maintaining their sobriety. In other words, the task of finding a job during recovery can be a daunting one. Did you know that over 6% of women have a substance use disorder in the United States? And that number is increasing. And I added this part, get this. This is pretty big. The rate of opioid-related deaths among women climbed 596% between 1999 and 2016. However, deaths among men increased 312%. And that's huge too. I just want to point out that women were almost double what men's were over that time frame of 1999 to 2016. Also, 3% of American women suffer from a drug use disorder, while 10.4% suffer from an alcohol use disorder. I'll let that speak for itself and why I chose to support women through Wagon Coffee.
Yeah. So the goal is to give women working opportunities at Wagon Coffee. Women in recovery.
It's not just that. It's so much more. It's for women to know they're worthy, they're valued, that I see them, that I hear them, that they're loved. And it's not just me, it's this entire community.
Wow. See, if someone once said, if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not a strong enough why. And I think it's bringing tears to her too, because I've had this privilege of journeying with Tammy, and y'all, we have spent so many late nights and early mornings over coffee talking about what should she do, and this fear, well, what if it doesn't work?
I use my Wagon Coffee.
Do it. What if
Oh
it
my
doesn't
gosh.
work? What if it fails? And the truth is, anytime you start something new, it can fail. Yeah, that's
can.
like a reality.
Oh.
Um, what if? What if? What if? What if? What if you never get out of the boat? What if you just stay where it's comfortable? Or what if you step out and you get to step into the new thing and you start to sink a little bit, and then someone reaches out and says, "Yeah, but I can help. Yeah, but we'll do this together." I mean, just so many beautiful things. So thank you for sharing that with us, Tammy.
Thank you for letting me pull myself back together.
Cheryl said, "Tammy for president." I agree. I'll vote for her. I'll vote
Oh
for her.
gosh.
So again, if you have questions for what coffee looks like moving forward, I love how you said it. Same great taste, new looks. Kind of like when Pepsi came out with their new Pepsi can. Remember this back in, I don't know, the 90s? Same great taste, new look. Anyway, kind of like that. But if you have questions for what coffee looks like,
And it
talk
will
to
be
Tammy.
here. Like I think that's
Yes.
really important to know. Like we are roasting in our house. Our roaster, once we get it, it will be within the walls of free. Our operations will be within the walls of free. And I also wanted to say that all of our 12-step gatherings and meetings, we will have wagon coffee on tap.
Yep.
And I think most importantly, and I wanted to make sure that you hear me and I am clear that I will be hiring women from the free community to work for Wagon Coffee. So yeah, we do this together. We
Yep.
support each other together.
And I just have to say, big shout out. This isn't just an idea that popped in the head last night. We've been working we have the best board of directors. One of them is in the house tonight, Ryan Nuss in the house. We have the most, the board has helped us think through these issues and what it looks like. So when she says it's roasting here at Free, yeah, there's lots happening. And thankfully, gratefully, we have a great group of people around us to help think through these things. So you're not making these isolated decisions. You're moving together with other people, and that's so awesome. Can't wait to see where it goes, Tammy. One last question for you, though, before you're done. For other people who are struggling, and I know it's a lot of you, especially during what we call a pandemic, when there's fear all around us. And as a culture, we're being driven by fear in so many ways right now. What does it look like to step into the fear rather than to step away from it?
Yeah.
What would you say to people who are struggling with that?
It's something that you and I say often, but it is truly staying awake and aware to where and how God is moving you. I know even Ryan has mentioned this, but last time I spoke at Free, I shared about how it's so important for me to keep my hands open and not walk around with everything that God has given me and the gifts and talents God has given me closed up. We are supposed to live openly. So stay open to how God is moving you. And by that, I mean, look for those waves of affirmation. And I always look for waves of 3. What are those waves of affirmation for you? And stay open to them. Where the energy, where the flow, where the stream is moving you and you're not turned upwards towards the stream, then you're fighting it. Where are you naturally moving with the flow and the energy of the Spirit? Where is God moving you? How much time do I have? Can I read a quote real quick?
Yeah, read the quote.
Okay. So
She's asking me like I have any control over this.
So I posted something on this a week ago, so I want to share a little bit more and read this again because this book by Glennon Doyle, Untamed, it really meant a lot to me when I read this. I want to share it with you guys. There is not one way to live, love, raise children, arrange a family, run a school, a community, a nation. Norms were created by somebody, and each of us is somebody. We can make our own normal. We can throw out all the rules and write our own. We can build our lives from the inside out. We can stop asking what the world wants from us and instead ask ourselves what we want from the world. We can stop looking at what's in front of us long enough to discover what's inside of us. We can remember and unleash the life-changing, relationship-changing, world-changing power of our own imagination. It might take a lifetime. Luckily, a lifetime is what we have. So let's conjure up from the depths of our souls the truest, most beautiful lives we can imagine, the truest, most beautiful families we can fathom, the truest, most beautiful world we can hope for. Let's put it on paper. And let's look at what we've written and decide that these are not pipe dreams. These are our marching orders. These are the blueprints for our lives, our family, and for the world. May the invisible order become visible, and may your dreams become our plans. So Do you like that bookmark?
Yeah, I'm gonna say a word about it.
So I guess my final thing, and then I'll toss it back over to Ryan. Rock the boat. Rock the dang boat.
Rock the dang boat. Tweet it.
Yes, get out of your own way and acknowledge your dreams. Write them down, as Glennon says. These are not pipe dreams. These are your marching orders. They're inside you for a reason. So take that step out and just start. Get unstuck and take that first step, because once you get out of that comfy boat, the world is counting on you, and all you need to do is show up.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for being here, Tammy, and for sharing some of your story and your heart, more importantly. And y'all, I did not know. I haven't seen this picture in a long, long time. Can you guys see that? Drew will take it. That was her bookmark in this book. I didn't know that was her bookmark.
Makes me smile.
That was from, yeah, hold it up a little bit, Drew. That was from 2
fuzzy.
years ago when we went to, yeah, it's a little fuzzy. That's all right. We went to Houston to go visit some other ministries and organizations that were doing some of the work we were interested in starting when we were talking about starting free. It was May, right before our first gathering. And talk about fear. Do you remember the fear and the prayer we did and the talking with other people? And what a great reminder that is to step out of the, what is it? Rock the dang boat, y'all. Rock the dang boat. The world's counting on you to show up. Thank you, Tammy, for being here. If y'all have questions for Tammy, ask them. She's going to be engaging you. Oh, all right. We're going to transition into, I want to say a word about giving, but Danny has the Jamie baptism video. Let's play that, Danny. So when we go into baptism in this free community, it is remembering that God is already well pleased with you. No matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, God is well pleased, because God's love isn't dependent on what you do. All right, thank you for that video, Jamie. What a great evening that was. And y'all, we're going to be doing more baptisms soon. We'll be talking more about that. Now, she talked about the wagon coffee. If you're new with us tonight and you're wondering, where does wagon come from? Well, wagon is a central image in this community, and it has been since day one, just like coffee was central from day one. A few years ago now, I was at the rescue mission in LA, Los Angeles. And I was with a group of people taking a tour through the building there, and the executive director took us to, I think it was the top floor. And on the top floor, there's a big picture, all kinds of pictures of their memorabilia, but one is a large picture of a wagon. And I was like, dude, what's the story of the wagon? And he said, man, you don't know about the wagon. And I said, no, but apparently I should know about the wagon. And he said, that's how we got started. That's how this rescue mission, the largest rescue mission in the country, got started. It was back in the late 1800s. The wagon would go into the roughest parts of LA, and they would distribute things like food and clothing and Bibles and hope. And then at the end of the night, they would invite people who wanted to get on the wagon, because they were headed to a place of recovery, place of safety. And now, what happens when you get a bunch of drunk people at the end of the night on a wagon? They fall off the wagon. As so many of y'all know, they fall off. But this wagon would stop when they'd fall off, and the sober ones would get off the wagon and help them back on, because they knew where they were headed. And when I saw that image, I knew that had to be a central image if we ever started a new thing. We did start a new thing, this thing called free, because when you fall off the wagon of life, whether it's sobriety or anything else in life, here at Free, we don't kick the wounded. We don't do shame. We welcome you back on. We want to help you get back on and do this journey together, because we know where we're headed. A place of healing, recovery, spiritual connection. And we do that work together. Now, if you're here in the physical premises of Free, you know that there's a donation box. There's donation boxes scattered throughout the premises. And truly, y'all, it is your generous giving each week. And we're blown away by it each week. Trust me, we're so blown away by your generous giving. It helps grow this mission of Free. So I want to let you know there are 3 simple and safe ways to give here at Free. The first one is to simply download the app. It's free. Free Spiritual Community app. You can give there. Just hit the giving icon at the bottom, or you can go to the website freespiritualcommunity.com and navigate that. It's really simple. Just hit give. Or the third way, text message. Text Be the Wagon to the number on the screen. And like I said, it is your generous giving that sustains this mission at Free. And to remind you what the mission is, it is to be a community of addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees, to create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. So thank you to all the ways in which you give to this community. Okay, did I get everything in, Danny Colella? Heartaches. We're going to close with heartaches because it's how we close things here. As I said, just like the wagon, we do this journey together. We do this life together. We carry the burdens together. And when we lift these things to God, God always hears the cries of the people. So take a moment. In fact, take 3 moments, 3 minutes. Get vulnerable with the community. We have a prayer team here led by Jason. I say it every week. Jason keeps us organized. He sends us emails. If you put a comment or if you email us throughout the week or get in touch with us through the app, we add you to the prayer list, and there's a team of people praying for you. But aside from that team, there's a whole community of people willing to walk with you and lift you up and carry the burdens together. We do it together. So take 3 minutes. I know it can feel vulnerable to put some of that on a comment, to start typing the burdens you're carrying, but share it. Share it so people can reach out to you. People can send you a text or get in touch with you on Facebook. So we do it together. Take 3 minutes and put it in the comments. All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you. Danny and I were just sitting here reading through your prayers, your burdens, the things you're carrying, and I know every week it can be some heavy stuff. So let's start with Monica. Monica, glad you're here. Life has been very discouraging lately as my 43-year-old niece died from alcoholism. My daughter's father-in-law died from COVID, and my cat ran away. On top of that, 2 dear friends died. I'm really struggling. Prayers for you, Monica. It sounds heavy. It sounds tough to have that much death and dying in your life. So praying for you this week. Thank you for sharing that with this community.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And by sharing with us, we just want you to know that we're carrying it with you. Because when you don't comment this stuff and you keep it all in, it's not awesome. So we're with you. We're with you. Cindy Rapp, prayers for Austin. We are praying for Austin, Cindy.
Every week. Every single week. Mike. What's up, Mike? I need to get alcohol free. I'm back in my own home and free from all the debt and have a fun and new friends are on my side.
Wow.
Prayers for you, Mike. I think what you're saying is you want to get sober, alcohol free. Dude, reach out. In my experience, it doesn't work on your own. Reach out for help, man.
Just like Rev Rice says in the beginning, it's not an accident that you're here right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. And I don't think we've ever met. So, Mike, truly, I'm glad you're here. Reach out.
Desiree, I'm still grieving my aunt and have gone back to therapy for this. Good for you. Please keep praying for her that she sees the light. For sure. Continuing to pray for her.
Ben, what's up, Ben? Our family lost our pup, Coco, this week. I put in a prayer request on the free app, and I've really felt the love from this community. Thank you, free. And Ben, we did get that prayer request, and I think Jason was just telling me, I was like, oh man, I forgot to text Ben, and Jason's like, dude, I called him. So teamwork here, and thank you for sharing that with us. Prayers for you and your family. I know that can be a heavy, rough, sad time, so prayers for you and your family.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that you can do these prayer requests on the app if you're comfortable doing that, for sure.
Absolutely.
Matt, at Children's Hospital with my daughter, Abby, prayers. Please for a great recovery. Praying for Abby and her recovery.
Prayers for you, Brother Matt and Abby. Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. Brenda, hi, Brenda. Brenda says, my aunt passed from COVID. Prayers for you and the family, Brenda. Again, heavy stuff. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Pamela, pray that God keeps my son safe. Every week, Pamela, we're here with you. We're praying with you. And we're thinking of Sam.
Yep. Lori says, hi, Lori. My husband's young onset dementia is progressing. Please pray for healing and peace for our family. Y'all are in our prayers. Thank you for sharing that with us, Lori. Praying for you and the family.
Christy, praying for a sponsee who is suffering from depression. And while depression is real, we're going to pray for your sponsee. She needs any support, please connect her with this community as well.
Yep. Thanks for sharing that, Christy. One more. Mary in Billington, whom I have the privilege of calling Grandma. My grandma, pray for the pandemic will draw us together rather than separating us. Yes. Thank you. We'll close with that one. Yeah. If you get on Facebook at all, it things can tear people apart. That's how I'd leave that. And yes, it has the opportunity to bring us closer together. Let's let it do that. Let's let love win. Thanks for sharing that, Grandma. Well, here's the deal, y'all. Can you just find a quiet spot? And I'm going to say a prayer over you all. We're not going to close with the Serenity Prayer or the Lord's Prayer like we usually do. I'm just going to say a prayer over you all. When I was asking a couple of people in here what prayer should we close with, they said, why don't you pray tonight? Pray for the people. So if you would, find a quiet spot. Keep your hands open. Maybe even close your eyes. Maybe even bow your head. And let's pray. God, we're so grateful to be together tonight. In living rooms and kitchens and cars and buildings, wherever people are, we're gathering together virtually, and we're grateful for the opportunity. And God, I pray for any of those who are in the boat and they're thinking of taking the next step, whatever that step may be, a step in recovery, a step towards sobriety, a step towards a new thing in life. God, remind them that you have called them to do even greater things, to love people in incredible ways, to impact the world through grace, peace, love, compassion, healing, all the things we long for. Fill them with that strength. Fill them with that confidence and reliance on a power greater than themselves. God, we're grateful for this community and all the new things that are happening. We pray your blessing upon the new things, on coffee, on free circles, on the mission spreading, new groups starting. God, we're filled with gratitude. Let us stay in that tonight. Let us stay in some gratitude and love one another really hardcore. It's in your name we pray. And all the messages that came in tonight, all the heartaches, we lift them up to you and we trust your hands. We trust that they're good. It's in your name we pray.
Amen.
All right, everybody. Grace and peace to you. Remember, it was Rabbi Jesus who said, come follow me. Come follow. I know you've got a past. I know things have been rough. I know you failed. I know you're not going to. Come follow me. Come follow me. Take that to the bank this week. So much grace and peace to you. Love y'all. We'll see you on Wednesday here for free gifts, socks,
Free
and
gifts.
undies. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.